Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching SAMAA News. Here are today's headlines.
President Donald Trump says he is 100% confident Iran will stop enriching uranium and abandon any attempt to build a nuclear weapon. Trump claimed Iranian officials had privately agreed to hand over what he called the country's nuclear dust. During a media talk, he said the United States will see what happens in negotiations with Iran, adding Washington is only interested in securing a good deal. Trump also praised Pakistan's mediation efforts, saying the country had been great during the crisis. He specifically commended Field Marshal Asim Munir and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif for their role in helping diplomatic efforts move forward. About his upcoming visit to China, Trump said he would have a long talk with Chinese President Xi Jinping about the war in Iran, but made it clear that he didn't need Xi's help to end the crisis.
Pakistan has categorically rejected a CBS News report regarding the presence of Iranian aircraft at Noor Khan Air Base, calling it misleading, speculative and sensationalized. The Foreign Office said the aircraft were in Pakistan as part of logistical arrangements linked to Islamabad talks, not because of any military contingency. According to the spokesperson, several aircraft from Iran and the United States arrived in Pakistan following the ceasefire and during the initial round of the Islamabad talks. Pakistan stressed that the Iranian aircraft currently parked in the country arrived during the ceasefire period.
Iran says its finger remains on the trigger, but its focus is still on peace and diplomacy. Government spokesperson Fatemeh Mohajirani warned tensions remain high after President Trump dismissed Tehran's response to a US peace proposal and said the ceasefire was on life support.
On the other hand, Iranian Parliament Speaker Baker Ghalibaf has said Iran's armed forces are fully prepared to respond to any aggression, warning that any hostile move would be met with readiness. In a statement shared on social media, Ghalibaf said the world had already seen that wrong strategies and wrong decisions always lead to wrong results. He said Iran was ready to deal with any situation and claimed that others would be amazed by the country's level of preparedness. Separately, Mohammad Eslami, the head of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, said there could be no compromise on Iran's uranium enrichment program. Iranian parliamentary spokesman Ebrahim Rezai has said that the country could enrich uranium up to 90% purity, a level considered weapons grade, if Iran is attacked again. The spokesperson for the Parliamentary National Security and Foreign Policy Commission posted on X that one of Iran's options in the event of another attack could be 90% enrichment, adding that it will review it in the parliament. The fate of around 400 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%, a short technical step from roughly 90% weapons-grade material, remains unclear.
China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has urged Pakistan to continue mediation efforts aimed at easing tensions over the Strait of Hormuz and the Iran conflict. In a phone call with Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar, Wang praised Pakistan's role in facilitating US-Iran talks and supporting the temporary ceasefire. Both sides also pledged closer coordination as China and Pakistan prepare to mark 75 years of diplomatic relations. Turkey says it supports efforts to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, warning the vital waterway should not be used as a weapon during the Iran war. Speaking at a press conference in Doha, alongside Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said Ankara is backing Pakistan-led mediation efforts to end the conflict between Iran and the United States. Qatar also confirmed discussions with Washington on supporting diplomatic efforts, as oil exports and shipping through the strait remain severely disrupted. Pakistan and Iraq have reportedly reached separate deals with Iran to move oil and liquefied natural gas through the Strait of Hormuz, highlighting Tehran's growing control over the vital energy corridor. Sources say Iraq secured safe passage for 2 massive crude tankers, while Pakistan moved to protect its fuel imports amid soaring energy costs. Analysts say Iran is no longer trying to fully block Hormuz, but instead control access through the strategic waterway. A powerful blast ripped through a crowded market in northwestern Pakistan, killing at least 10 people and wounding dozens more. The explosion struck Naurang Bazaar, damaging shops and vehicles as panic spread through the area. The attack comes days after a deadly assault by Afghanistan-based militants on a police post in Banu that killed 15 officers. Palestinians marked the 78th anniversary of the Nakba, or catastrophe, commemorating the mass displacement that followed the illegal occupation of land in 1948. In Ramallah, crowds waved Palestinian flags and carried symbolic keys representing the right of return for refugees. Russia successfully tested the RS-28 SAMAA, a new strategic nuclear-heavy intercontinental ballistic missile with plans for deployment by year-end. President Vladimir Putin has described it as the most powerful in the world. The missile is designed to carry nuclear warheads across thousands of miles and, according to Putin, can penetrate all current and future missile defense systems. The announcement comes amid continued tensions with the West over the war in Ukraine and follows years of delays and failed tests in the SAMAA program.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has defied calls to resign, telling ministers he would get on with governing despite a destabilising 48 hours of growing calls to set out a timetable for his departure after an election drubbing. At a meeting of his cabinet team of ministers, Starmer repeated that, while he took responsibility for one of his Labour Party's worst election defeats, there had been no official move to trigger a leadership contest. He said the past 48 hours have been destabilising for government, and that has a real economic cost for our country and for families.
French President Emmanuel Macron announces $27 billion in investment commitments for Africa at the Africa Forward Summit in Nairobi, focusing on energy transition, agriculture, and artificial intelligence. He says 14 billion euros will come from French public and private companies, while African investors will contribute 9 billion euros, with the plan expected to create around 250,000 jobs across Africa and France. Macron described the initiative as a partnership of equals, as France works to rebuild influence in English-speaking African countries amid declining ties with several former colonies and growing geopolitical competition.
That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching SAMAA News.